Hello, my stamping friends. My name is Holly Peterson. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States, and today we're going to be using the Linked Together bundle. It comes with the stamp set, and it also has a set of dies and 5 different layers of masks. Today, we're only going to use 2 of the masks. The masks all have a notch at the top here so that they're easy to line up, and a number. We're going to be using mask 1 and 3 today. We're not going to be using 2, 4, or 5. What's nice about these masks is you can use 1 or 2 or you could even use all of them together if you wanted to. So these are the 2 different dies or masks that we're going to be using today. I have the supplies for you. The card base is basic white. It's 4 1/4 by 11. We have a basic white layer that we'll use for masking. Basic white 4 by 5 1/4. We have a piece of bubble bath that's 4 by 5 1/4. And I used the die and cut the diamond out of the middle. So you would have this diamond. We're not using it on this card, but you would have it to use on another card later. And then I embossed this layer with the Distress Tile embossing folder. Here it is. With the Distress Tile embossing folder. And then the designer paper flowers. The designer paper is called Lovely Garden, and these flowers were hand cut from one of the pages of the designer paper. It comes in 12 by 12, and I just cut all of these flowers down that we'll use to decorate the front of the card and the inside. So with that, we will do our masking first. And what I like to do on these dies is I like to use a scrap piece of paper. And I'm going to just put a little bit of adhesive on the middle of my scrap paper. And then I'm going to anchor this down. Then I'm going to take the first mask, and this is mask 1, and I'm going to just line it up on there. We're going to be trimming the sides, so it doesn't really matter if it's even all the way around, because we will be trimming that. And then I'm going to use some washi tape, and I'm just going to anchor the mask down to my scratch paper. And then I'm going to take a pen and I'm going to mark the notch and then the bottom right corner. That way it'll make it real easy to line up the other mask. We're using Melon Mambo ink, and I'm using one of our small blending brushes. I always like to start off, that looks like there's quite a bit of ink on there, just real light. I'm just going to go over this whole area. And if you have different shades throughout, I think it looks really nice that way as well. So I'm going to call that good. We're going to lift up this mask. And after the video here, I'll just go rinse these off with water, and then I just set them to dry. So then we'll bring in mask. This is number 3. We'll line up the notch there, the corner down here. Like that. We'll anchor this down again. You don't have to anchor it down. We did this in class today, so I had the gals anchor it down so it didn't move on them. With the same ink, Melon Mambo, we're going to go over and do this mask now. And I like to do small circle motions when I use the masks, or any kind of ink blending for that goes. And really the only part we're going to see on this card is the center here. The rest of it will be underneath a layer. But I think that's probably good. Yeah, I like how that looks. And then to take this off, if you just twist it, it comes right off of the scratch paper here. Okay, we're going to trim down the sides. This layer is the same side as our pink, our bubble bath layer. So I want to make this just a little bit smaller so that it is easier to put it underneath our bubble gum. And I'm basically just cutting off all of the white borders. That's about a 1/4 of an inch, I think, on all sides. Okay. We're then going to put dimensionals on the back of our embossed layer. And I have some edge pieces here that I'm going to use. We'll just anchor these skinny sides here. Well, these ones have been cut, but we'll still use them. We'll just anchor this around the center so that doesn't sag. Okay. Looks like there's a couple on here left. The little tins I have when I have class, I cut these in half so that they fit in my little bucket better. Okay, that should be good. I'm gonna pull my little trash can over here so that I can put all these in there. Well, maybe I will put them in there. Okay, I think I've got all of those backings off. I'm ahead of myself here. Let's get our card base. We'll fold it in half. We're going to just put this flat on the card. I like to use my Stampin' Seal for that. And it doesn't have to be exactly center because, like I said, this piece is going to go over the top. And then you're just going to center this on the front of your card, like that. And then I've already cut all these little flowers out. You didn't need to see me struggle with fussy cutting those. These edge pieces work really nice for the inside. I'll show you that. And then we're going to I'm going to cut, since this flower is so big, I'm going to cut this flower. And we'll tuck that in over there. So we'll put dimensionals on the back of this. I may end up cutting my leaves off. That flower's a little big there. So on this side where it's going to hit the embossing, I'm just going to put a little liquid glue. And then we can kind of play with where we want the blue flowers. And then we're going to just put a little bit of liquid glue on the back there since this flower is already put up on dimensionals. And maybe a little behind this leaf. And I might pop a dimensional underneath this flower. So we'll just cut a little piece. Then I'm going to use my take your pick tool. Maybe. Goodness gracious. Okay. And then I can use that to tuck it underneath here. On this flower, or on this card, I used the Just a Note from the Link Together stamp set. I did have some extra just because already heat embossed from another project. So I think I'm going to go ahead and use this. Now I've already got a dimensional on the one end, and I think I'm just going to tuck it right there, I think. So just put a little of liquid glue here. Like that. We may not have to snip that leaf off. I'm just going to do a dry run here. Oh, it does need to come off. Okay. Now that'll fit in our envelope. And then for the inside is a great place to use the flowers on the edge. So for this inside, since I have two that I cut, I think I'm going to use just one. We'll save that for a different project. And I'm just going to put a little bit of liquid glue on the back of this. Get my silicone mat just in case it goes off the edge a little bit. And I'm coming down off the edge of the paper a little bit. Got a little extra glue there. There we go. And then I'll just snip this off. Just that little bit. I cut this little yellow flower out. I'm not sure that I'm going to use it. Oh, maybe I will. Add a little bit more color. And then to finish it off, I am using the Neutral Matte Dots. It's an online exclusive, and they come in black, white, pecan, pie, and basic beige. So there's the basic beige, the pecan pie, and then the black and the white. So I like to use my Take Your Pick tool, and we'll do a big one. We'll just tuck that one in there, and then a small one over there, and a small one down there. And that is a pretty quick and easy card. Of course, the fussy cutting takes some time, but the rest of it is pretty quick. I hope you like my my card and my video today. I appreciate you stopping by. Until next time, bye-bye.